Welcome to the Soul Archaeology podcast, a space for connection, resonance, witnessing, and learning. Together we'll harvest medicine from the spiral of life, sharing conversations with other embodied humans who have navigated their own initiations and found alignment with their true soul essence. With weekly astrology, energy updates, embodied conversation, and channeled teachings, this is a space for you to land and find resonance with the spiral of your own soul. Hello, and welcome back to Soul Archaeology. And thank you so much for being here. I took a break last week and I posted about it on social media. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, then you might not have known that I was taking a break. But I wanted to really honor the medicine of now, which for me, being in my nodal return, having this South Node in Virgo, my personal South Node in Virgo being incredibly intertwined in this eclipse season because it's right on top of my natal South Node and North Node, I have had to quite literally embody this medicine without cutting any corners. And this is hitting my 10th and 4th house. So it's tied into my work. And the universe quite literally forced me through this eclipse season to embody the medicine of this time. I have had a dark night of the soul the last 3 weeks in perfect time with the new moon in Virgo that we had on the 22nd of August. I entered into a huge initiation, a huge descent, a dark night of the soul. I took a thyroid supplement, a bovine glandular thyroid supplement that completely overturned my system, my nervous system, my adrenals, everything has been completely flipped upside down. It has been the most intense, out of my control experience I've had thus far. And I've experienced a lot of grief, a lot of loss, a lot of really challenging experiences earlier in life. But at this point, I've never met true terror like I have over the last 3 weeks. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into these layers because I'm still sorting through them and I'm still tending this part and I'm still embodying this medicine. But I know for sure that it has changed me for the rest of my life. And although I'm not quite there yet where I'm grateful for this experience, I know and I can sense and feel, and even in the most challenging moments, I know that this is happening for a reason. And I know that because I have a South Node in Virgo, I can really sort of click in and grip and push through. There's a very young part of me that's forward right now, which is afraid to mess up, that's afraid to not be perfect, to carry it all, to be able to handle it all. And that is the part of me that I'm getting to meet so intimately right now. Letting go perfectionism, letting it be okay that I didn't record an episode last week, knowing you will all be fine without me for a week, that I've created plenty of content for you to hold you over for a week. I have struggled with asking for help, relying on people, leaning on people, receiving help in the past. And this eclipse season has 1000% forced me to do that. I quite literally could not have done it alone. And it has been such a gift to receive that love and support. And because I'm quite literally going through a complete reset of my nervous system, I know I'm building so much more resilient. Integrating this part and meeting it and being with it is going to completely change the trajectory of my life, my career, my work. I firmly believe that in order to be a depth practitioner, which is what I consider myself. I'm not working at the surface level. We're going very deep together. We're holding spaces that require quite a bit of capacity. I'm crossing this threshold for all of you as well, because integrating this part of me I've known for so long will have to happen. And subconsciously, it's been sort of knocking at the door. And now I'm just in it. I'm having to do it. I have no excuses. I can't bypass this at all. I am just here meeting this trauma layer. And so that's why I had to skip last week, because I had to truly, fully surrender the ego. I had to surrender control. I had to surrender all of the stories and the narratives around what you would all think, how you would all feel. Would you come back after this break? Would I be letting you down? Would you think differently of me? These are all South Node and Virgo pieces of my story. And on top of that, I have had to strip down every single aspect of my life and go through with a fine comb and sort and discern what actually can stay and what cannot. What is serving my system and what is not. I have had to tend my nervous system, my physical vessel, in ways I have never before the last 3 weeks. So I'm in a pressure cooker and I'm learning a lot. I feel like I am in an exam period of Earth School that I didn't anticipate, and I was quite literally catapulted into it after taking one supplement. I don't do plant medicine, but that's what I would compare this experience to, except that I am in it. I am doing it while I'm in the journey. So I am learning so much. I know that what I'm working through at this moment is happening for a reason. It's happening for my own personal soul growth, evolution, but also for my work. And I can feel that so deeply and so intimately. So thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up each week. It means a lot. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what this week has in store. I'm almost hesitant to say that because I know how intense the last few weeks. And I've talked to so many people. I've really only had space for my clients, some close friends, and close family. But my clients that I'm working with are absolutely in it as well. I've worked with people who are having sudden breakups, sudden broken bones, sudden reroutes. Last week was filled with incredible loss from collective events that have, I think, touched so many of us so deeply, compounded by what's already been happening in places across the world, in Gaza, in the Middle East, in Africa. And this is eclipse season. This is a really intense eclipse season, personally for me, but I know I've talked to a lot of you who feel the same. And there's some reasoning for that. We have a lot of outer planet movement. We have Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, which are all at the earliest degrees of new signs or at the last degrees of signs they've been in for a while. So we are in a karmic washing machine being pulled back and forth, past, future, old, release, build, new. It's like a karmic storm. So we have this outer influence of huge life themes. That's what the outer planets represent, or larger life themes, collective themes as well, hitting these anaretic degree points and new beginning points. So that's one foundational layer. And then this month, we also have 2 eclipses. We have 2 new moons in Virgo as well. We had a new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees on August 22nd, 23rd. And now this week, we have a solar eclipse, which is a new moon close to the South Node in Virgo at 29 degrees. So I talked about this, I think, 2 episodes ago, or maybe 3 episodes ago. I can look back and link that old episode because I think it would be helpful if you're listening to this to go back to that episode as well. I just looked and it's episode 114. So we have this bookend with the South Node in Virgo. Within Virgo season, we're also in a 9-year, which is endings, completions, new beginnings, preparing for new beginnings, but maybe not even seeing them, having to just be in the discomfort of loss and letting go and surrendering without actually seeing what the other side looks like. That is real embodiment. And we are being worked right now. Our nervous systems are being worked. There is an actual, real spiritual war occurring. And what the South Node in Virgo is teaching us with the North Node in Pisces is that we have to build strong, resilient vessels to hold this amount of chaos, change, unknown. And it's incredibly uncomfortable because in order to build that resilience, in order to build that capacity, we have to meet our edges. We have to meet the spaces that hold too much, the spaces that drop us into fear, terror, grief, shame. It's a pathway, a gateway. These feelings, these experiences are a gateway. They're not a wall. And through that gateway, we find more space. We find more expansion. We find more truth. I'm sure you feel the polarity in your system right now. When we have times of great crisis, like we've had this week, or an injection of fear, an injection of grief, an injection of anger with the school shootings in Colorado and the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's pinging something deep within all of us. And when we get that activation, it's so easy to want to get pulled to a side. When we're triggered, things get very black and white. I have experienced that firsthand over the last few weeks. What fear and terror can do. And I have so much empathy for people that live there because things get really small. They get really black and white. They get very, very, very narrow. Someone is right, someone is wrong. Things are good or bad. When we're outside of our range of regulation, things get distorted. And the truth is, life is gray. Truth is gray. This world is filled with nuance. We cannot have one truth. It's simply not possible. And I encourage you to go back and listen to episode 109, where I talk about contrast and multiplicity and nuance and how important it is to hold all of that. But that requires a well-tended vessel. That requires a tuned nervous system and our ability to hold that, a capacity to hold the gray, to hold the unknown. And that's what this time is calling us into. The North Node in Pisces desperately wants us to be able to surrender, to let go. That space beyond contraction, the South Node in Virgo shadow, is space to receive what can be, the North Node in Pisces. So right now, our edges are being tested. For me personally, I have had to look at every single thing that I consume and decide if it can stay or if it can go. Every relationship, every piece of food, every piece of media. This time is quite literally forcing me to strip down, to refine, to clear, to redirect, to discern, and most importantly, to fully let go, to trust. It's forcing me deeper into faith, deeper into reckoning with the unknown, with what I can't control, with what's messy and unformed. And that's true for all of us. Regardless of where this lands in your chart, can you let go of your grip a little bit? Whether that be an opinion or a side or perfectionism, fear, this week is pointing us to this work in a deeper way. This is not an easy week per se. We have some crunch. On September 17th, Mercury in Virgo opposes Saturn retrograde in Pisces. This might be a crunchy day. This might be a little conflicting. Mercury in Virgo has a lot of potential, but it can also be rigid. It can be sharp. It can be almost a little too clear. And we're seeing this play out on social media. People just responding without thinking, or being so firm and rigid in their beliefs that there's no space for nuance. Saturn wants us to mature. It wants us to grow out of this crap. It wants us to look beyond. It's dipped back into Pisces for a while, so we're going to be in this work. On the 18th, Mercury shifts into Libra, which is a little bit more balanced. That same day, it immediately opposes Neptune retrograde in Aries. It's at the 0 degree point of Aries. So we're back in that space of stripping illusions, looking at what is and isn't working, where we're holding illusions around certain things. And then we have this grand trine in air later on the 18th. Mercury in Libra trines with Uranus retrograde in Gemini and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So there's some supportive energy here to maybe repair through conversation, through communication, through connecting with others. You might be called to speak out or to say something that you've been withholding. And then on the 20th, we have Venus in Virgo squaring Uranus retrograde in Gemini. And this might feel sticky. This might feel challenging to let go, to really understand and refine your own values. Venus in Virgo is all about values, principle. It can be quite rigid in ways, even idealistic. And Uranus in Gemini is shaking things up. This is why everything has felt at warp speed since the summer, since July, when Uranus entered Gemini. And this is where the nervous system comes into play. We have to tend to the physical vessel that holds our consciousness, our beliefs, our actions. The nervous system is the filter for our experience. Everything we believe, everything we create, our entire reality is filtered through our nervous system. If we're dysregulated, we are operating from fear. And this is what the South Node in Virgo is trying to teach us. So we have our solar eclipse in Virgo on the 21st. And this entire week builds towards this point. This week is going to force us to get super, super clear on what is and isn't working in the realm of communication, beliefs, self-care, media intake, consumption, values, rituals, routines. This eclipse season is calling us out on the BS, where we have been living an illusion, where we are convincing ourselves we're doing something when we actually aren't, or that we aren't doing something when we actually are, or where we're skipping over certain parts or bypassing. So this entire week builds towards the solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees at 12:54 p.m. Pacific. And this is the closing of eclipse season. We had a total lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th. We're in that 2-week window between eclipses. And the eclipse on September 21st at 29 degrees of Virgo, the solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse, is closing something. It's closing a big chapter. Virgo's medicine is refinement. It's clearing, it's distillation. And this season really gave us the full cycle of refinement. Planting, experimenting, purging, clarifying. We had a new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees on August 22nd, 23rd. And now we have another new moon, but it's a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo on the 21st. And I talked a lot about this in that episode, 114. The Virgo season is bookended by 2 new moons. So think back to August 22nd, 23rd, that week before and after. What were you working through? Something is coming to a head this week. The first Virgo new moon really invited us into new patterns of care. This Virgo solar eclipse demands we let go of what doesn't serve and fully devote ourselves to this new way of being. But it might feel like you're in an in-between space. Eclipse season can feel like a karmic washing machine, a karmic storm. We've been building towards this pressure point over the last 2 weeks. When we have any lunar or celestial event at the anaretic degree, it is pressure. There's a pressure to complete something, to realize something, to finish something. That anaretic degree is deeply karmic. So this is not just tied to the last month. This is not just tied to the last 20 years. This is tied to past lives, ancestry, things we might not even be conscious of. This is rapid, fast, uncomfortable change. It can feel like you're out of control. We have all of these outer planets being aspected at the first few degrees or last few degrees of their new signs or old signs. So there's a significant karmic weight to this eclipse season. Something is wanting to complete a pattern, a belief, a loop. This solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees on September 21st is the closing note of a karmic storm. It brings urgency and finality. It's demanding resolution of something that began in August, or maybe something that began at birth or before birth. Whatever isn't aligned in the Virgo realm. Body, health, work, service, rituals, devotion, practice is being eclipsed out, stripped, purified, reoriented. So this is not just clearing away overanalysis. This is clearing away lifetimes of overanalysis, perfectionism, control, and the pieces that drive those patterns. Fear. We're being asked to go into the layers, the experiences, the memories, the emotions that are held beneath those patterns. To be with, to meet, to flow, to love, to integrate those parts. Wherever Virgo lands in your chart, there is a crystallization of new pathways. I have a feeling you had to surrender something this eclipse season. Maybe you had to let go of something or reckon with the loss of control. What dissolved with the lunar eclipse in Pisces now has space for refinement and restructuring with this new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. The 29-degree point is an initiatory turning point. The Virgo story is reaching completion and demands integration. So wherever you have this in your chart, whatever part of you or planet or celestial body lands in Virgo, it's receiving a reckoning. None of us will be the same on the other side of this eclipse season. Virgo is the priestess, the healer, the integrator, the sacred vessel. It's healing embodied. It brings us to the practical pieces and parts we can work with in order to heal, to grow, to be of service. It's mutable earth, so it's about change and transformation and the in-between and the liminal. But it finds healing through refinement, precision, embodiment. The highest expression of Virgo is finding comfort in the not knowing and tending the physical body, the nervous system, the immune system, so that we can hold all of this not knowing, all of the mystery of Pisces. We need both. We can't be totally Piscean and disconnected from the earth, disconnected from our bodies. We need the balance of Virgo to help us root and ground, to have strong, resilient nervous systems so that when a catastrophe happens, we can hold it. so that when we have nuanced, complicated, complex conversations with people, we can sit in that space of discomfort, of not knowing, and hold the middle ground. What I think is being revealed in our collective consciousness right now is the weakness of our collective nervous system and the gaps within our own nervous systems, where we immediately shoot to these pathways of fear, of control, because we simply cannot be with the unknown or with the complexity, the nuance, the gray, when we try to control or contort narratives because it makes us feel more safe. That's South Node in Virgo shadow. And the North Node in Pisces is an invitation. It's an invitation to say, I don't know, and I'm not sure, but I can be okay with that. And I'm still open. I'm still receiving. I'm still searching, honestly. And yeah, I can hold that nuance. And I don't need everything to be perfect and placed into boxes in order for me to feel safe. And this eclipse season is showing us and revealing to us, each one of us, where we grip to control to feel safe, where we resort to unhealthy practices, perfectionism, overanalysis, hypervigilance, rigidity, out of fear. This eclipse season is about embodied devotion. And this eclipse in particular is an invitation to fully let go of what isn't working. There is a part of you that knows what's not working anymore. And this eclipse won't let you through that gateway without tending it. This is about refining the container of your soul, of your consciousness, the body, the nervous system, the immune system, and allowing your service to flow from wholeness, not fragmentation or fear. Not your echo chamber, not your safe box on the poles. This eclipse is about flow. I always think of Virgo as the diamond. It's clear, you can see straight through it. It's precise. It holds shape and form, but you can still see through it. It's pure. And that's the highest expression of Virgo, is this idea that we can hold this shape and form while still remaining open and clear and discerning. With this eclipse season, we are clearing our mental space, our field, our bodies. We're tending the physical vessel and its systems so that we can hold more, feel more complexity, feel more nuance, sit with the nuance, the confusion, the unknown. A well-tended vessel, Virgo, allows us to hold the vast expanse, the unknown, Pisces. And the Virgo shadow looks like a tightly coiled vessel that makes us shrink, coil in, contract, control, and grip. And the highest expression of Pisces is a buoyant, resilient vessel. It's loose, it's open, it's malleable, that enables us to float, to pivot, to expand, to meet discomfort with spaciousness, to meet discomfort with confidence because you've done it before. You know you've passed through that gateway. So this is a karmic purge of old habits, patterns, systems, beliefs connected to South Node in Virgo shadow. The North Node in Pisces is quite literally pulling us towards compassion, spaciousness, imagination, trust, faith. If you've ever felt true regulation in your nervous system, you know how good it can feel to be in your body. What's happening right now is we're being asked to quite literally go and meet the spaces where we still contract, where we lock down, where we wall up, where we're afraid of being in that unknown space, where we're afraid to let go. And move with that part, move with that emotion, be with it, build new pathways to compassion, to love, to acceptance. And when we build those new pathways of love and acceptance and compassion within our own systems and our own hearts, we create space to meet others in those new pathways as well. So this is a karmic detox, quite literally. This is a point where we get to actually let go, where we get to actually change some of these patterns, where we get to actually pivot and create new pathways. This eclipse is a new moon, so it's a solar eclipse connected to the South Node in Virgo. So the South Node in Virgo is releasing, letting go, completion, karmic. New moons are typically about new beginnings, but there's always the point where an ending meets a new beginning, and that's where we are, and we're dancing in the liminal. Things might not be crystal clear. This is about refinement. This is about stripping things down, not getting lost in the details, but simply just listening to your body, listening to what you need in the moment, pulling out of that overanalysis, pulling out of the noise of the mind, which we might feel this week with all of this mercurial energy. We have to strip things down, to refine, to simplify this week. It's going to ask for us to strip away excess layers of shoulds so that only what's aligned remains. Because this North Node in Pisces is calling us towards this larger evolutionary trajectory. Faith, compassion, spiritual trust, collective healing. And this eclipse is opposed by Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces. And I talked about Saturn moving back into Pisces. If you have your own natal Saturn in Pisces, your inner Saturn return, this time is going to feel intense because Saturn's retrograding back into Pisces until next spring in February, when both Saturn and Neptune cross into Aries together. So there's a weight to this eclipse. Yes, there's a karmic weight, but there's also this Saturnian weight around accountability and maturity. It's insisting that our spirituality, compassion, and imagination become practical and embodied. No more bypassing. No more illusions. This eclipse becomes a karmic reset point. Can we integrate our faith with the material? Can we integrate the mystical, the spiritual with the body? We cannot bypass the nervous system. We cannot bypass the embodiment process. And Saturn asks us to mature. This is a sobering eclipse. It's around boundaries, clarity, maturation. Saturn is asking for us to mature, to evolve, to do it differently. We must be able to elevate outside of the wound, or really integrate it enough where we can walk through that gateway of it in order to operate from our higher self, not our inner child. I see a lot of people's inner children on the internet right now. So take inventory. Where are you operating from of a younger part of you, a wounded part of you? Within the Virgo realm of your life, of your chart, the way it expresses and moves through you. Where are you over-efforting, over-perfecting, holding on to what no longer serves, dropping into rigidity, control, fear, manipulation? What rituals and practices actually nourish you right now? It's not about more, it's about less. It's about effective, precise, refined. This is not the week to schedule a bunch of social events. This is a week to slow down, to notice, to listen so intimately, to fine-tune your intuition, to look at your daily rhythms, rituals, practices. What are you devoted to? What are you giving your energy to? Devotion is where you place your energy. What wants to be simplified, clarified, released? What stands between you and full surrender? That's what we're sorting through. No big deal. It is perhaps, maybe one of the biggest fear pieces that's held within your system, but you don't even need to figure it out or think about it. It's more about returning to simplicity, tidying and clearing your space, physical, energetic, emotional, mental, clearing the clutter. Don't be afraid to set boundaries and say no. Refine your practices, your rituals, your self-care. Cleanse, take a salt bath, Even a foot bath can be huge. Pisces rules the feet. Smudge. Refine your diet for this week. Really notice what you're consuming, not just food-wise, but media, content, conversations. When you feel an emotion arise, can you create some space to be with it, to flow with it, move your body with the emotion? Look at where you're placing your energy. Who has access to you? What are you giving your energy away to? This eclipse is an end point and a beginning. It's opening a new 6-month chapter. And I can tell you right now, we are all opening to something larger, bigger, more expansive. And the reason we're being directed to our physical vessels is so we can hold that, whatever that is. That new timeline, that new chapter, that new opportunity, what you've been hoping and dreaming and praying for. Your manifestations need a place to land. And that landing place is on the other side of surrender. It's on the other side of the fear of letting go, the fear of tending to what you need to, ritual, responsibility, setting boundaries. This is a major karmic clearing. I cannot overemphasize that. And I know it's uncomfortable. Maybe for some of you, you feel great and that's wonderful. I don't want to project this onto you if you're not feeling it. But I think for many of us, it is a really uncomfortable time and I am in it. I'm living in it with you. So I totally get it. And I'm sharing some of the pieces that have come through for me already. I'm quite literally plugged into this eclipse as we speak, and I am getting the full energetic colonic. So we are here. We're doing it. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being here. I know so much is going on collectively as well, and I have been moving through that too. And I'm sure I'll speak to more of it in the coming weeks, but from what I've gathered there is a strong force that wants to divide us as a species. And this is where this nervous system work comes in. This is where we have to meet the parts of us that are so afraid of being in between, nuanced, in the gray, holding many truths at once, because that's the reality of being on this planet. And when we quickly need to make someone wrong or right, or when we grasp for that familiar pull, we are playing into this game. We are playing into this agenda. So just know this is part of the whole journey. Just noticing, there have been times in my life where I was so black and white. And as I grow older, as I evolve, as I navigate these in-between spaces, it is so clear to me that there's so much more gray than black and white in this world. And that can be okay too. I invite you to, in this time, drop into my North and South Node course, Inner Compass. It is self-guided. You can do it at your own pace. It's a lifelong compass that you can carry with you. I am quite literally in the deepest study of my South Node that I have ever been in. And it's not a coincidence that I released this course and then got dropped so deeply into my South Node shadows, so deeply into this wound, these karmic points within myself. And I can tell you, having the wisdom, the knowledge, the embodiment of my North and South Node has made this process so much more clear and supported. After taking this course, you will be able to really understand why you're here, your karmic imprints, the shadow patterns that you're probably getting pulled into, that we almost always get pulled into when we're in eclipse season. You'll understand your subconscious patterns in a much deeper way. You'll also understand your purpose, why you're here, how to embody your highest expression. I've learned even more about my North and South Node during this time, and it's just refining more and more, and it's becoming more embodied within me. And it's just such a beautiful journey. And that's why I'm so passionate about integrating and understanding the wisdom of the lunar nodes when it applies in your astrological chart. So join me in Inner Compass. You can get 10% off with the code NORTH for being a podcast listener. Thank you for being here. And the card that I pulled is the crystal card, which I loved because I just compared Virgo to the diamond. And it's all about self-healing. Crystal is an instrument of transcendence, an iconic talisman of the journey inward. Forged deep in the belly of earth, she emerges clear and brilliant, emanating form and balance through her highly ordered expressions of the infinite. Her sacred geometries hold the planetary codes and cosmic blueprints of universal existence. She responds to your intentions to conserve, direct, transmit, and transmute energy. She is a powerful healing ally. Crystal sends the message that self-healing is underway. You can amplify this progress by visualizing your wholeness and aligning with the curative frequencies freely given by Earth. Self-healing is a powerful choice when its visualization is married with intuitive listening and a commitment to self-kindness. Improvement becomes inevitable. If you choose to work with a physical crystal, trust her purity and light to guide you home to yourself. When it's balanced, you have faith in Earth's energies and your ability to heal yourself. When it's imbalanced, you have a fear of the body and fear of the earth. To bring into balance, work with crystals. Walk steadily on the earth. And that's something that has been such deep medicine for me during this time, is just laying on the earth, laying on the ground, letting that frequency work with my nervous system. So thank you for being here. As always, thank you for sharing, liking, reviewing, sharing on social media. It truly means the world. I'm so happy you're here. Have a beautiful eclipse, and I will see you next week.